Hi, marketers. This is Dots, and welcome to the Marketing Leadership Podcast. With me here is Jay Schwedelson, founder at subjectline.com and one of the most popular email marketing thought leaders worldwide. We will discuss grow with email, the most untapped marketing strategy. Yes, that is true 20 years ago. That is true today. Anyway, I know you guys are ready to do this, so let's get it. Jay, welcome. How are you doing?
I'm fired up. I'm excited to be here. I appreciate the invitation. I love talking about email. We're going to have fun.
Yeah, great. Yeah, it's really an honor having you here, especially on the email side of things. So, do you want to start by, for those who don't know you, I think a lot of people already do, tell us about yourself, your background, and role.
Yeah, sure. So Jay Schwedelson, I have a few different businesses. I have an agency, about a 100-person organization called Outcome Media. We do a lot of demand generation work for business and consumer marketers. And then we also have a media company called Guru Events that puts on really large scale virtual marketing conferences like Guru
Mm.
Conference. And we also have websites like subjectline.com that are free tools for marketers to use to improve their email marketing. So we do all sorts of stuff. Just love getting the word out there about marketing and in email. And it's just, it's always changing. Everything's always changing.
Yeah, it is. It's true. And honestly, you are doing a lot. You have a great empire, if I will call it that way. Not maybe not just email marketing, but
Right.
some other. And you check all the boxes too in terms of what you need to have to really have that whole empire in place. But so, what's your vision with the entire group? Like, what are you trying to change in terms of your marketing world?
You know, what I really want to help the overall market with is to bring more education, free education to marketers about how to do their jobs. You know, there's 25 million
Mhm.
businesses in the United States. And
Yeah,
in almost every one of these business, for example, with email, I don't just do email, but I do a lot of email. Almost
yeah.
every business leverages email, right? And a lot of people say, oh, is email dead or is email legacy? And email is critical to every business, right? And
Mm.
there are little things that you can do with email that can really change your performance. And so when someone says email doesn't work for me, that frustrates me because it can work for any marketer of any size. So I want to bring as much free education to the planet from the greatest marketers, brands, companies in the world about email marketing through podcasts, through conferences, through whatever, because I think it can change every company's engagement and how they're driving their business just by doing a few little things differently. So that's my agenda. That's my goal.
I like that. Usually when you ask people that kind of question, they'll be like, I never thought about that. But you've got that all figured out. So
Right.
that's very good. So now to the topic here. If you're listening, we are discussing in email marketing from a very different lens. Maybe, hopefully, you might find some things that you probably didn't know, and hopefully that helps. Now, 2023 is a big year, even 2024, maybe the next couple of years after that. We've got all this tech coming out. ChatGPT can now see, hear, and all these things that people say. We had Barbie and all that stuff that happened in the brand and marketing world. And my question is that email marketing is also evolving in its own right for that as well. So, uh, what are some of the benefits that you think this whole new information age or AI age or technology age is bringing to marketers on how they should look at email going forward?
You know,
Basically,
email,
making you the futurist at this point.
let's talk about the short-term future. You know, what is 2024 going to mean as it relates to email? And in it's interesting because in the United States, we might be heading into a difficult economy. Now, why does that matter?
Mm.
When you head into a difficult economy, a lot of marketers are going to see their marketing budgets shrink a little bit, right? Everyone's going to be like, wow, I need to do more with less. And when you look at, for example, social media,
Mm.
when you put things on social media, it's only going to go to about 10 to 15% of your network, right? When you go on to search, it's super expensive to have really good exposure in search or in
Mm.
display. It'd be really
Mm.
expensive. But
Mm.
there's only one channel on the planet that if you want to communicate to your entire population of people and not spend any money pretty much doing it. The only channel that exists is email. So what we see
Yeah.
historically is when an economy is not good, okay, or it's weaker, email becomes more and more important because it's very nominal cost and it allows you to reach your entire population. So marketers turn to email in difficult economies more than any other channel. And so
Mhm.
what we need to all do is what are we going to do in email to stand out, to get the most out of it? So 2024, in my opinion, is probably going to be the biggest year in the history of email marketing.
Wow. 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 Guys, if you're listening, you better get ready. That's a very great one. And I think some of the other questions I'm prepared to ask you here, we will be diving deep into how we can take advantage of
Yes.
the big year of 2024. Okay, so one of it that has been in my mind for so long is the audience part of things, right? Um, in search, in social media, we talk about audiences. There are different aspects to that. You can get a factorial and even research audiences and stuff like that. But with email, audiences are beginning to change. The nature of audiences is beginning to change. And I'm talking about the concept of outbound prospecting. Okay. And developing a total addressable market, as they call it. How does that work in your own world? How do you get data? How do you, you know, how do you get intent? And around whether it's for B2B, it's probably an easy answer with B2B because a lot of people do it these days. Or if you've got some insights on B2C as well, that would be great. But what are some of the ways that you've used data collection or databases or customer intelligence to build your term audience and use that for inbound prospecting, the kind that never bounces, the kind that gets a lot of replies?
So that's a great question. So first off, you have to always be asking, meaning that in every area of your website, everything that you're doing on social media, you have to always be asking people to sign up for a newsletter, sign up for this, sign up for that. There's one tactic that works incredibly well that a lot
Mm.
of marketers think is annoying, but it works so well and it's really not annoying. What do I mean by that is when you go to a website, whether it's you're going to go to a B2B site that maybe it's like a SaaS company selling some kind of application, or you're going
Mm.
to a consumer website where you're going to buy some clothing. When you go to any of these sites, many of the most successful marketers, the biggest brands do the same thing, which is they have a pop-up contact capture form. You go to the site, right? And before you can get to Nike.com or Sephora or to Salesforce or to whatever, it pops up a little window, right? And it says, hey, if you want to get the 10% discount, give us your email address. Or if you want to get the 7 tips to the best CRM system, give us your email address. Now, a lot of marketers listen to this and be like, oh, I don't want to use one of those. They're annoying. I don't like them. So I wouldn't use that. Right. But here's
The gated content, as they call it.
absolutely. And here's why you need to use them for two reasons. Number one, they work incredibly well. And here's the data. When someone visits your site, the first 5 times they visit your site, okay, if you have a pop up contact capture, you will grab about 9% of all of those people's information by utilizing one of those forms. That's a lot of
Wow.
free contact data that you can grab. And the
Yeah.
reason you want to do it and not worry about it annoying somebody is this. And I'll ask you the question, Dot. Okay.
Mhm.
Let's say you go to Nike and it pops up that form and you're like, oh, this form's annoying. Do you click the little X and then go on to Nike to buy your sneakers? Or do you get so offended by that pop up and say, I hate this pop up, and you leave Nike immediately and you never come back to the site? Which one do you do?
That's a very good question. If I have seen it once, I might want to feel it to see, maybe let's see what happens. But if it's something that, and that happens a lot where it's not very well done, you constantly get hit with things like that, then you just want to close it out. But I don't think I get so upset as to leave the site. That has
That's
never
exactly
happened.
right. That's exactly right. You never get so upset that you actually leave the site. You close it out, right? And so who cares? You close it out, you forget that it was even there. But for a lot of people, they fill it out. So If there's
Yeah.
one thing I would tell you to grab the data is do that because you can grow your database at no cost so easily. So anyway, that's my long answer.
No, 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 no. I love that. I love the sense that we overstate a bounce rate
Yes.
if we try to conceptualize that, and the fact that it still works. You know, however you nurture that, I guess is then up to you, right? But
Yes.
I there are different marketing influencers these days bastardizing the concept
Yes.
of gated content or gated forms or stuff like that. But I guess the best practice is not asking for too much information at the beginning
That's right.
and then having people to update their preferences going forward. Anyway,
100% right.
yeah. So email concept. I am a fan of creative campaigns. Every Monday I do my best to share the best marketing ad campaigns of each year. I think right now I'm in 2008 and I'm working my way up. So I love things like that. So, and I think email doesn't have to be boring. Email can be creative from a content and contextual perspective. And from your experience, what are some of the emails that you've seen that, users are like, wow, this is really nice. I will take whatever action you people want me to take. What are some of those ideas that I think our listeners can benefit from with your decades of experience?
So, there's one kind of email that I think that marketers don't pay enough attention to that is possibly the most important email that you send, that any marketer sends.
Mhm.
And that is, believe it or not, the autoresponder when somebody signs up for anything on your website, whether they're signing up for a newsletter, they're buying a product, they're registering for a webinar, they're getting a coupon of some kind. They sign up. And then what do we all do? We send out an autoresponder that says what? It says, thank you for signing up, right? Thank you very much. And then we all move on with our day. But the reason that that email is the most important email that you're going to send is not because it's establishing your brand identity or any of that nonsense.
Mhm.
You can get that first email opened that your organization sends to somebody and they open it. From a technical perspective, it teaches both your sending and receiving networks that, hey, this person likes getting email from you, the company, right?
Yeah,
And if
yeah,
you open it up, the likelihood of you staying in that person's inbox goes up by like 1,000,000,000% because they opened it and it teaches the inbox they like the email. So the reason I'm telling you this is the best marketers, the biggest brands like HubSpot and Wayfair and Amazon and the NFL and whatever, they all do this one thing, which is this. When you sign up for anything they have, they don't just send you an email that says thank you. They send you an
yeah,
email that says thank you, special gift inside. Thank you.
yeah,
You got to see what's inside this email. They do something in that subject line that is so exciting that you have to open up the email because all you need is the email to get open. You don't even need them to click.
mhm,
And if you get
yeah.
that email opened, you're in that inbox forever. And that's why that email is the most important. And that's what the best brands focused on.
Yeah, I think a lot of B2C or D2C brands get it right a lot.
Yes.
I was speaking to, so I'm working on a project. I have never done this in my life, working for a brand in the men's health sector, especially the men's health, the real one, he said 10% in the standard. I'm happy to give a 10% discount if you sign up for my newsletter. The fact that a business owner was able to know that, I think it shows that there's been a lot of adoption, but I think that needs to spread around to different
Yes.
verticals and the B2B, and look at the way we always try to charge first before we give as
Yes.
companies. We need to give more so that we can even get more going forward. So that is really, really, really great. If you're listening, guys, it's the Marketing Leadership Podcast, and I know that you're enjoying this. I'm enjoying this as well. Very, very insightful, uncommon, very impactful ideas. Aside from listening, you also get to review. So please, it doesn't matter what the review is. We will love a review. It helps us, it encourages us. It also encourages the algorithm to do that as well. And for now that we don't have that many reviews, I will be, reading a few of the reviews just to help inspire us to do that. So here is one, very short. It's titled Well Worth a Listen. Dots, I don't know why they keep mentioning my name, runs a great podcast with tremendous insights for marketers. That, whatever this podcast gives you might be different from what you just heard. But the great thing is that we can't know unless you tell us. And if you tell us, then we can always share that and work on that feedback. Before we move on, I still have a couple of questions to ask Jay, but I would like us to go on a very quick commercial break from our sponsor. And when we come back, we'll put Jay through the dots rapid fire since he's a very strong man, strong individual. Anyway.
Right, I'm ready.
Yeah, so guys, in a couple of seconds, we'll be back and then we will resume the Marketing Leadership Podcast. Welcome back, guys. So like I said, I will be putting Jay through the dots rapid fire, and it's basically a digital marketing court of law, where we say the truth and nothing but the truth, so help him God.
That's right.
Last time you said you're ready. I'm going to give you a chance to say if you are ready again. Are you ready?
I'm definitely not ready, but I'm ready.
Well, there we go. Okay, so what is your best marketing KPI? I don't want to hear sales or revenue.
People are going to be shocked by this, but I really want to get as many email opens as humanly possible, because people focus on, click-throughs or responses, whatever. But if you don't get the email open, then nothing else can occur. So I want to get as many human beings opening the emails as humanly possible.
You know what? I would have sweared on my life and even the life to come that this was what you were going to say. Being the owner of subjectline.com. So
right.
That's really, really on point. Second question, how long do you use social media every day? I would doubt not very much because you're very busy.
Well, no. So every morning, I'm going to tell you exactly what I get up very early. I get up at 5 a.m. every morning. Okay.
Same.
And I go through, I spend 15 minutes on LinkedIn. And what I've decided is a long time ago, I don't have the patience to do stuff on every social media network. It's out of control. So I do 15 minutes on LinkedIn every morning. I like a bunch of stuff. I'll post one thing pretty much every day, and then that's it. I'll come back to it the next day, but 15 minutes every day. And by the way, I think it's really valuable for everybody to do that on LinkedIn. For me, it's the ultimate social media network, and it has changed my business by doing that.
Wow. That's great. Last one, what is your favorite marketing quote?
Oh, I have a couple of different favorite marketing quotes. I'm going to give them to you.
You can give us two. Yeah, sure.
Okay, here's a feeling. The number one is regret is worse than failure. Okay. Whatever it is that you're thinking about doing, whether it's business related or life, just do it. Because when you're an old person and you're going to look back in your life, you are going to be like, oh, I should have done that thing. So regret is worse than failure. The other one is perfection is the enemy of progress. And what I mean by that is a lot of times in marketing, everyone's like, oh, this is not right. We got to fix this. It's not perfect yet. We got to get it all perfect. Just send it out. Just do it, because perfection holds back getting things done and trying things. So don't focus on perfect. Good is the new great, and just do it.
Just do it, like Nike. Exactly. But what I will also add, guys, is that as if you people follow us, we stalk our guests a lot. And this is a post by Jay 3 days ago. My email rules of life. 2 email rules I live by. When in doubt, send it out. When in doubt, opt them out. So it's along the line of just getting things done. And I would also give credit to Mark Zuckerberg, who says done is better than perfect. And the last one you said there in terms of regrets, I've been trying to do this podcast thing since 2018. I literally had everything in place. Something happened. I can't remember what. Maybe it was immigration. I dumped it out. So now I'm working at a pace whereby I'm trying to catch up like it was 2018, right? We're speaking of the mic in terms of, us also reaching 100 recordings. So very, very simple, but very, very great quote to live by. Okay, back to the topic. Email automation and retargeting, especially the retargeting, because many people know retargeting is more common to ads, but I feel like there is more that email marketing can offer in that regard. Knowing that email delivers, double digits conversion rate. When you look at your Google Analytics, email is probably at the top when it comes to conversion rate. So from your experience, what are some of the things or the best practices that you think our listeners can learn from when they start working through email automation or email retargeting to get the best out of their customers or even out of their prospects?
So email automation is an interesting thing. So, right. So somebody goes to a particular page on your website and an email will get triggered that will go to them, or somebody visits, they open up an email and they get a follow-up email, right? Or you have something timed that they get an email on this particular day because they did this, that, or whatever. All these different email automation triggers. And that's great. And that's very, very successful. But here's the problem
Mm.
is that we all are very busy. And here's what we do. We set up these automations. We say, okay, we got this new piece of content, the 2023, trends for HR professionals or whatever it is, right? And we put that in our automation stream. And then we move on with our lives. We all get very busy. And now fast forward, it's 2020, it's June 2024. And we have not really taken a look at our workflows and our automation streams. And we're still firing away these automations,
I like
whether it
that. I'm
carries,
guilty of that.
we're all guilty of it. And you know why we're guilty of it? Because we are overly optimistic with how attentive we're going to be to our automation streams. So what we need to do as marketers is get real with ourselves, and we need to have evergreen content. You need to make sure that whatever you're putting in those automation streams will be good today, tomorrow, a year from now, 3 years from now, because you don't have the time to go through those workflows. I don't care how big of an organization you are. We work with the biggest companies on the planet, and they all screw this up because you have too many things firing in too many directions. And I'll tell you what will destroy pipeline of any kind, consumer or B2B. What
Mhm.
will destroy pipeline is old content that somebody receives that's dated, right? That has an old date on it, or it's talking about an old topic. Like if you're firing off something about the pandemic, which is probably happening right now in somebody's automation stream somewhere. Okay. When somebody gets that, they're like, "Ugh, this company is not organized. They're not efficient. They don't know what they're doing." So evergreen content in your automation, get real with yourself. And that is the secret to success with automation.
Mm. Love it, love it, love it. I aside from being evergreen, it's good to check, right? Because
Yes.
there are. Let me give you a good example. Is this? And it's not just automation in email, automation in general. Now it's in the US, even in Canada. There's so much with the economy. There's a cold recession. We don't know whether it's recession or not. That is a good hook to market anything in this day and age. And there was a time it was COVID. There was a time there's always something else that always comes up that can help you with the seasonality of, always updating those the content as it were, and making sure it's as relevant as possible. So great wisdom on that. Last question. I will not leave you without asking you to give us any of the quick tips that you have in your head, starting with subject lines, of course,
Yeah. Yeah.
on how to optimize email marketing in general. I'm specifically focused on those that marketers are like, they don't really focus on, and at the end of your answer, they want to be like, oh, okay, interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm glad you asked that question because there are little things that marketers can do. Let's talk about the subject line first. You could do stuff in your subject line that will radically change the number of people opening up your email. So let's go through some of those. But first thing, before we can tell you some of those ideas, I want to dispel a myth. People
Okay.
think that the reason you go to the junk folder or the spam folder is because of the words or characters that you put in your subject line or your body copy of your email. That was true 10 years ago. 10 years ago, you used to get filtered, go in the junk folder because of content, the words and symbols that you used. Technology has changed. You don't go to the junk folder because of content, right? You go to the junk folder because you have poor sending reputation from your email infrastructure and a lack of engagement. So the reason I tell you that is if you go ahead and you Google, spam trigger words, you're going to find these lists of words to avoid. And I'm here to tell you that is old information that's being regurgitated. That's just no longer true. I want to liberate you.
Yeah.
You can put words like free in your subject line. It's fine.
Mhm.
It's in your junk folder.
I
Don't worry
love
about
that.
it. Okay. And when you go back to your inbox, look at your own inbox. The biggest brands will be putting characters like emojis and exclamation points and the word free in their subject line, and it's in your inbox. You're not looking at your junk folder because it doesn't affect deliverability. So that's the
Man.
first thing. But little things that work. I want you to always focus on the start of your subject line, the first few characters, the first few words. Nobody reads the second half. I'll give you an example. If you start your subject line with a number, just a number, right?
Yeah.
The 7 things all small business owners need to know, the 3 hottest fashion trends. When you start your subject line with a number, it'll increase your open rate on average by about 15% just by
15.
starting with a
Wow.
number, just because it stands out. If you capitalize the first word of your subject line, just that very first word, okay, it will stand out. It'll actually lift your open rates, the percentage of people open your emails by about 10%, right? That first few characters is huge. If you have an emoji, okay, whether you're a business marketer or a consumer marketer, an emoji to start your subject line, it will lift your open rates by over 20%. And some of you may say,
Wow.
emojis are embarrassing. I shouldn't use them. And that couldn't be further from the truth. I'll give you an example. Goldman Sachs, one of the
Mhm.
most stiff organizations on the planet. Almost every newsletter subject line they send out has an emoji in it. It does, right? Why is
Mhm.
that? Because it stands out. An emoji doesn't have to be a smiley face. It could be the symbol of a calendar. It could be a check mark. It could be anything, right? Anything that you can do in that subject line. So when the person is going really fast their inbox, they stop for that millisecond and they will see your subject line is what you want to do. So yeah, little things, big impact.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. Little things, big impacts. I'm so excited I can't speak straight. Anyway, I know we can go on and on with this, but we are at time. Jay, it's been an awesome honor having you. Great wisdom that you shared with regards to email marketing. I hope that listeners are taking away a lot of great things that they can start to act with now. Now. Anyway, where can future email marketers find you?
Well, first of all, please connect with me on LinkedIn. I share stuff all the time. I love connecting on LinkedIn. So find me on LinkedIn. Please do that. I also have a podcast and love for you to give it a try. You can go to this
The
website.
GOAT of marketing podcast. The GOAT.
There it is. Oh, it's on the screen. There you go. It's my
Oh,
full
thanks,
name.
Brian.
If we just go to my full name.com, jschwedelson.com, you'll find the podcast there. And we're always sharing new stuff. So please give it a try. And yeah, that's the best way to find me.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. Thank you, Brian, for sharing that. Brian is always awesome at the back there. You guys don't see him, but sometimes you hear him. Anyway, guys, that's all we have for today. More episodes are available on dotslovesmarketing.com. Don't forget to subscribe to the Marketing Leadership Podcast on Apple, Spotify, and YouTube. If you don't want to go to the website, that's okay. I'd like to thank Des Creek and Content Allies for their support, and also special thanks to Jay for everything that he's been doing for the world, and even coming here to be on this podcast. Till next time, connect the
Thanks,
dots.
everybody. Appreciate you.
Thank you for listening to the Marketing Leadership Podcast, brought to you by Listen Network. There will be links to resources mentioned in today's show notes. If you enjoyed this episode, please leave a 5-star review and be sure to subscribe so you never miss an episode.